Session 806 Deleted Portion. Now, in certain terms, past, present, and future are all complete in any given moment of your experience. Any such moment is therefore a gateway into all of your existence. The events that you recognize as happening now are simply specific and objective, but the most minute element in any given moment's experience is also symbolic of other events and other times. Each moment is then like a mosaic. Only in your current life history you follow only one color or pattern and ignore the others. As I have mentioned, you can indeed change the present to some extent by purposefully altering a memory event. At least twice a week, I would like Ruber to alter the memory of that playground in Rochester, so that he successfully climbs down the jungle gym. Using emotion from the present. Let him now imagine the event only defiantly, saying to hell with the feelings he had at that time about the dumb psychologist. He gives his past self his current knowledge. The two selves momentarily become merged in a psychological synthesis, and the past self, no longer at that point momentarily immobilized by fear, instead follows through and performs adequately. That kind of synthesis can be used in many instances with many people. In Ruber's case, it actually reassures the past self of any doubts or fears, doubts and fears that are also reflected, but that it has already chosen a framework or a given frame of existence that emphasizes certain kinds of experience over others. Give us a moment. This week, Ruber has regained additional motion in his right foot, with a loosening of ligaments and muscles, important ones that will help the stretching of the legs. All of the ligaments have begun to stretch, and the muscles to loosen. At times he is standing straighter. The arms are looser. The neck is gaining resiliency. Some of these motions are not synchronized yet, and yet the improvements I speak of have been obvious. I told him that the hot towels underneath would help his eyes considerably, and his head. I repeat the statement. The body is quickening. The eyes are acclimating themselves. The main tension points, however, involved the ligaments of the neck, affecting the eyes, and while those ligaments stayed more or less rigid, the eyes got used to doing their work in a restricted area. When he wanted to look up or down or around, he would move the entire head, neck, shoulder area, rather than, for example, rotating the eyes. As those ligaments release, the eyes try to be more active. The muscles have become lazy. They are learning again, however. His reading is coming back to normal, though there are still some momentary lapses. It is the eye's full range of activity that is being restored. It is almost impossible to explain the intricate relationship between, say, the positions he adopts and their effects upon other portions of the body. The releases involved that you both noticed the other evening when he straightened up to some degree are most complicated and significant. His body has become more dependable walking, as he knows. The most important thing at this point is for him to keep in as good spirits as possible, not by being Pollyannish, but by recognizing the reality of his improvements and by not overstressing those areas in which improvements have not yet appeared. Distractions are good, but you must use them. Ruber learned last evening to use them when you had company. The body does not begin to show such improvement with the intent not to continue. All of my suggestions should be followed. Those apply to Ruber and you. When Ruber feels good by his standards, that is, in a good mood, relatively at peace and in some kind of bodily ease, taking his situation into consideration, he should note that I will help keep him from concentrating on the times when he does not feel that good. He should make an effort to forget his condition as much as possible. And so should you. This does not mean that you are ignoring reality. You are instead trying an excellent method that will help you change it. His body is becoming more responsive, and there is no reason why the improvements cannot smoothly accelerate. An attempt to creatively divert his thoughts will help, so he gives his body time to escape his notice. The improvements already made are not only important in themselves, but because they are already eliciting further freedoms that will show. The point of power is in the present. Whenever possible, minimize the importance of a problem. Forget a problem and it will go away. Don't advise, surely, or so it seems. Yet children know the truth of it. Minimize impediments in your mind, and they do become minimized. Exaggerate impediments in your mind, and in reality, they will quickly adopt giant size. Above all, communicate with each other. Your episode on the porch last night is an excellent example of creatively using your environment. Alter your routines when you can in the same fashion. In so doing, you display a change of attitude, a willingness to be creative in your life as well as in your work. Very briefly, Fuller is by turns overly credulous and overly critical. He uses the journalist framework to protect himself and at the same time urges to forsake it. For that reason, the student finds a strong sense of stability within himself, for he is pulled from one direction to the other. He is not a creative writer, but a work-a-day one, whose creativity then seeks release. Personally, he has restrained his, say, flights of fancy while seeking them out in others, where they are less frightening. As a journalist, he can say, yes, these things happen, but they did not happen to me, and therefore gain what he thinks of as critical distance. He can be, however, again, overly credulous as well, so that he is already between tensions. His wife is freer, and feels she can rely upon him to help her structure any psychic experience of her own. She will have those for both of them. Do you have any more questions? Ra said, well, on the same subject matter. Then why did the Harvard professor write to Jane today? They said, for the same reasons. Most people are caught between the hope that life offers more than conventional knowledge gives it, and the fear that it might not. The man is highly intelligent and intuitive, and quick to understand all material, and thinks himself quite brave and avant-garde to approach you. I suggest one of you write him a good letter, leaving lines of communication open. Robert can regain normal flexibility, normal responsiveness. I wish that I could automatically impart to you the quite simple knowledge that lies behind those sentences, so that you could accept them without quibble. But you are beginning, both of you, to change your beliefs and feelings, and that is good. I bid you then a fond good evening. When you are even mildly hopeful, tell the other. If you feel blue, let the other know, so that the mood does not linger, undermining what you want to do. At the same time, rally your forces, so that you creatively try to change a mood of disappointment. This will prevent both of you getting down at once. Good evening. Ra said thank you, said good night.